Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Khairunisa Afifah, and today I want to present final test of classroom management. Let's get started. Before we start, I want to explain the contents of this presentation. The first is part one. I will explain what is the teaching tolerance, helping student anger, frustration, and aggression, and then disruptive behavior. And then the second part, we have some cases of problems in the classroom, and I want to explain what is the solution. Let's get started with the part one is teaching tolerance. What is teaching tolerance? So, teaching tolerance is a program founded in 1991 by the Southern Poverty Law. The program helps educators and schools educate children and youth to participate actively in advancing democracy. The program helps educators build equitable societies by providing educational resources and advancing instructional content that promotes diversity and inclusiveness. Through its school and community conferences, the Teaching Tolerance program creates opportunities that brings children together to learn and appreciate their differences. The factors contributing to intolerance in classroom is effective leadership, strong leadership, and a forward-thinking, anti-bias attitude from administrators can significantly reduce incidents of hate and bias in school. Then, diverse student bodies. Schools that serve traditionally marginalized populations, such as immigrants, often have a stronger focus on inclusivity and welcoming environments. This can help mitigate intolerance by promoting understanding and acceptance. Then, unfortunately, some parents can be powerful obstacles to teaching tolerance. Educators may face resistance from parents who are intolerant themselves, which can create challenges in promoting inclusive learning environment. Then the rise of social media has made it easier for hate speech and biased content to spread quickly, often targeting specific groups. This can contribute a toxic school culture where students are exposed to and internalized intolerant messages. Then the types of intolerance is the first is racial and ethnic bias. Racial and ethnic bias are the most common types of a bias incidents reported by teachers, followed by incidents motivated by bias against immigrants, Jews, Muslims, and other groups. And then students may also face intolerance based on their religious beliefs or disabilities, which can be particularly harmful and isolating. So the benefits of the teaching tolerance is learning involves teaching students how to get along with others. For example, teaching tolerance promotes better relationships among children by teaching them how to appreciate diversity early. Teaching tolerance helps learners acquire positive citizenship and they can foster better relationship with different members of society. Then how to teach tolerance in the classroom? The first one, lead by example. How do you speak and treat others? Your attitude and interaction with others should demonstrate respect and tolerance. Children closely mirror the values and attitudes of the grown-ups in their lives. As a teacher, you can mirror openness and respect by embracing empathy and compassion through your actions and words. Also, you can encourage your learners' self confidence by celebrating their differences and teaching them about different culture, and then encourage them to honor and teach their traditions. Encourage your learners to accept and appreciate their traditions. Also, appreciate your traditions as you learn about other people's traditions. Celebrating your traditions will teach your students to appreciate other people's cultures and the value of embracing diversity. Learning about other cultures will help them overcome their bias about particular cultures embracing diversity. Then, when your students are out of science contests, summer camp, and workshops, they interact with diverse populations. Interactions with diverse groups of children are an excellent opportunity for students to learn acceptance by interacting with other children from varied backgrounds. These interactions broaden their view of the world and their understanding of other communities. Then establishing practice at the building community. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the noise. Let's we continue. Establishing practices at the building community can help foster a multiracial democracy and reduce intolerance. This includes initiatives like the Anti-Defamation League's No Place for Hate and Teaching Tolerance Mix It Up at Lunch Day. Then some principles like Principal Tom Reynolds use discipline as a primary strategy to address intolerance. While this approach can curb hateful behavior, it may not fully address the underlying issues and can lead to a culture of fear rather than understanding. Then, avoiding controversial topics or discussions can also be a response to intolerance. However, this approach can lower expectations and fail to promote meaningful dialogue across differences. And last is educators can empower students to question authority and develop critical thinking skills by encouraging them to investigate and analyze different perspectives. This helps students create their own opinions and resist intolerant influences. Intolerance in classroom is a complex issue with multiple factors contributing to its occurrence. Effective leadership, inclusive school cultures, and community building initiatives are crucial in addressing and preventing intolerance. Additionally, educators must be prepared for address the challenges posed by intolerant parents and online influences while fostering critical thinking and empathy in their students. By incorporating these strategies, educators can effectively promote tolerance and inclusivity in their classrooms, leading to a more positive and supportive learning environment for all students. And then we move to the second material is helping students handle anger, frustration, and aggression. So the first is frustration. What is the frustration? So frustration is an emotion experienced when an individual is blocked from achieving a goal or is unable to make progress towards it. This feeling can arise in various situations, such as students struggling with math or students unable to participate, like a student named Maya is unable to participate in a group project because they are shy and struggle to express themselves. And Maya feels frustrated because they want to contribute but are unable to do so. And the next is anger. Anger is also an emotion that can be experienced independently of frustration. It arises when an individual perceives others as not behaving respectfully towards them, intentionally or unintentionally. Like Students disagreeing with teacher. Like a student named Jake disagrees with the teacher's grading policy and feels angry because they believes it is unfair. Jake expressed their anger by arguing with the teacher and refusing to accept the grade. Or a student feeling disrespected, like a student named Jake feels disrespected by a classmate who is dominating the conversation and not allowing others to participate. And Jake feels angry because he believes the classmate is being rude and not considering others' opinions. Like that. And then aggression. Aggression is a behavior intended to cause physical or emotional harm to a person or object. It includes actions such as hitting, punching, criticizing, insulting, or swearing at someone. Aggression is considered a non-constructive way to manage anger, contrasting with constructive alternatives like expressing hurt feelings or addressing the issue directly. For example, students yelling at classmate like a student named Ryan is frustrated with a classmate who is not contributing to the group project. Ryan becomes angry and yells at the classmate, telling them they are not doing their part. And the next example is student damaging property like that. And then frustration aggression hypothesis suggests that frustration often leads to aggression. This theory proposed that when an individual is blocked from achieving a goal, they experience frustration, which can lead to aggressive behavior. How to managing frustration, aggression, and anger. The first one is teaching emotional regulation. Teachers can help students manage frustration and anger by teaching them emotional regulation techniques such as deep breathing, visualization, or journaling. And then teachers can encourage students to express their feelings and concerns in a constructive manner, such as through respectful dialogue or written reflection. And teachers can provide support and resources to help students overcome obstacles and achieve their goals, reducing feelings of frustration and anger. So, frustration, anger, and aggression can occur in the classroom setting when students are unable to achieve their goal or feel disrespected. Teachers can help manage these emotions by teaching emotional regulation, encouraging constructive communication, and providing support and resources. By addressing these issues, teachers can create a more positive and productive learning environment. And the third is disruptive behavior. So, disruptive classroom behavior refers to a repeated patterns of students' action that consistently hinder or obstruct the desired learning activities. These actions can manifest in various ways depending on the specific situation, but they all share the characteristic of interfering with intended learning progress. Disruptive behavior can take the form of talking out of turn, refusing to cooperate or to cooperate, creating a distracting environment, or exhibiting behavior that go beyond the classroom context like inattentiveness or aggression. Regardless of the specific form, disruptive behavior ultimately hinder the well-being and academic achievement of students, the teacher's ability to effectively instruct, and the overall productivity and positive learning environment for the entire class. For example, talking out of turn is students interrupting the teacher or classmates without permission hinder the flow of discussion. Then loud conversations, unauthorized electronics use, or unnecessary noise disrupt concentration and learning. Inattentiveness is like daydreaming, doodling, or unrelated electronic device use shows a lack of focus on the lesson. Disrespectful language is offensive language. Name calling or derogatory comments create a hostile learning environment. Then repeatedly failing to follow instructions or complete tasks disrupts the class and burdens the teacher. Physical aggression is fights or aggressive behavior threaten the safety and well-being of students and the teacher. Then deviance is constantly challenging authority of refusing to comply creates power struggles and disrupts learning. Then electronics device misuse is using electronics for texting, social media, or games distract students and others. And then chronic tardiness or early leaving is arriving late or leaving early disrupts the flow of instruction and distract others. And then off-task behavior is socializing, using personal electronics, or working on unrelated assignment takes away from learning. And then disrupt behavior hypothesis. This, hypo this hypothesis ties together the three factors mentioned: boredom, learning difficulties, and attention seeking, is ways students express unmet needs in the classroom. These needs could be for intellectual stimulation, academic support, or simply social interaction and recognition. According to Drakers, several factors can contribute to disruptive behavior in students. The first is boredom. When students find learning uninteresting or repetitive, they may act out through disruptive behavior, monotonous teaching methods, or a lack of challenge in the material. The second is learning difficulties. Students who struggle to understand the material may become frustrated and disruptive. Students with learning disorders, disabilities, or who are simply slower learners. The third is attention seeking. Some students disrupt the class because they crave attention from the teacher or peers. This behavior can manifest in various ways, like making noise, acting silly, or constantly needing help. Then, how to manage disruptive behavior in the classroom suggests that disruptive behavior stems from three main causes: boredom, learning difficulties, and attention seeking. You can use these strategies to address each cause. For the boredom, the first is varied teaching methods. Move beyond rote memorization and lectures, incorporate activities like games, discussions, group projects, or technology to keep students engaged. Then, we can use differentiation, cater to different learning styles and paces. Over-tired assignments with varying difficulty levels or provide students with choices in how they demonstrate understanding. And then novelty and challenge. Uh, introduce introduce new concepts regularly and present material in a way that is stimulating and thought-provoking. And then for learning difficulties is pre-assessment. Identify students who might need additional support by gauging their prior knowledge before just starting a new topic. And then differentiation, similar to addressing boredom, provides targeted instruction and resources for students who struggle with grasping concepts. And then small group or individual support. Over additional help during or outside of class time to clarify challenging material. And then for attention seeking, we can use positive reinforcement is catch student being good, acknowledge and praise appropriate behavior to encourage repetition. And then direct attention, provide students with opportunities to participate constructively by calling on them frequently or giving them specific tasks. And then identify underlying needs. Sometimes attention seeking can mask other issues like anxiety or social struggles. Talk to students privately to understand their motivations. In this topic, here are general tips. The first is clear expectation. Establish clear classroom rules and routines at the beginning of the year and consistently enforce them. Then, foster a supportive environment where students feel comfortable asking questions and making mistakes. And then maintain open communication with students and parents. Discuss concerns and work together to develop strategies for addressing disruptive behavior. And according to this, teachers can create a more positive learning environment for all students. Remember, the best approach will vary depending on specific needs and age group of your students. Let's we move to the second part. For the first case, is we have Mrs. Johnson is a fifth grade teacher who has been teaching for over 10 years. This year, she has a student named Alex who frequently displays aggressive behavior. Alex often interrupts lessons, talks back to the teacher, and sometimes even becomes physically aggressive towards his classmates. Mrs. Johnson has tried various strategies to manage Alex's behavior, such as setting clear rules and consequences, positive reinforcement for good behavior, and speaking with Alex privately to understand the root of his aggression. However, despite her efforts, Alex's behavior has not improved significantly. Okay, so the question is, what classroom management techniques can Mrs. Johnson implement to address Alexa's aggressive behavior? Provide at least 3 specific strategies and explain how each one could help improve the situation. Okay. Judging from the action of Mrs. Johnson, rather than focusing solely on punishment, Mrs. Johnson can include activities that encourage empathy and understanding in the classroom. This may involve role-play scenarios in which students act out situations that could cause disappointment or anger, and then discuss healthy ways to resolve them. By encouraging students to see things from a different perspective, they may better understand Alex and his emotional outbursts. Alex's aggression may stem from an underlying bias or feeling of not belonging. Mrs. Johnson can create a classroom environment that celebrates diversity and culture differences. This could take the form of a class discussion about tolerance and acceptance, or incorporating books and activities that showcase the richness of different backgrounds. By creating a more inclusive space, Alex may feel more comfortable and less likely to get upset. Mrs. Johnson can also provide students with a variety of tools to handle conflict constructively, which can, which can significantly reduce classroom disruptions. Mrs. Johnson can provide lessons on communication, active listening, and negotiation skills. Additionally, restorative practices such as mediation circles can provide a space that is safe for Alex and his classmates who may have conflicts within them to share their feelings and find solution together. This strategy focuses on creating a more inclusive and understanding classroom environment where Alex feels supported and is less likely to engage in aggressive behavior. By addressing the root causes of his aggressiveness and fostering empathy among his classmates, Mrs. Johnson can build a more positive learning experiences for everyone. Okay, we move to the second case. So we have Mr. Smith is a seventh grade math teacher who has noticed that several students in his class frequently engage in off-task behavior during lesson. These students often daydream, chat with classmates, or use their phones instead of focusing on their work. Despite Mr. Smith's attempts to redirect their attention and provide engaging activities, the problem persists. Okay, this off-task behavior is disrupting the learning environment and affecting the overall performance of the class. Okay, so the question is, what strategies can Mr. Smith use to increase on-task behavior and decrease off-task behavior? Provide at least three specific strategies and explain how each one could help address the issue. Okay, to increase on-task behavior and decrease task behavior, Mr. Smith can employ several strategies. The first strategy is provide engaging and relevant activities. So, Mr. Smith can ensure that the activities he assigns are engaging, relevant, and challenging for his student. This can be achieved by connecting the math concept to real-life scenarios, or the student's interests can make the lesson more meaningful and interesting. And then using technology, incorporating technology such as interactive math games or simulations can make the lesson more enjoyable and interactive. And then we have providing choice. Offering choices in assignments or activities can allow students to take ownership of their learning and make it more engaging. And the second strategy is we have established clear expectation and consequences. So communicating classroom rules and expectations to students, ensuring they understand what is expected of them. Then establishing consequences for off-task behavior such as losing privileges or having to complete extra work can help students understand the importance of staying focused. And then providing positive reinforcement for on-task behavior such as verbal praise or rewards can encourage students to stay focused and engaged. And we have the second strategies is use visual reminders and visual aids. Mr. Smith can use visual reminders and visual aids to help students stay focused and on task. So the first is visual reminders. Posting visual reminders such as focus chart or a task list can help students stay on track and remember what they need to do. And then using visual aids such as diagrams or charts can help students understand complex math concepts and stay engaged. Using color coding to differentiate between tasks or activities can help students quickly identify what they need to do and stay focused. So by implementing these strategies, Mr. Smith can increase on-task behavior and decrease off-task behavior in his class, providing engaging adult fun activities, establishing clear expectations and consequences, and using visual reminders and visual aids can help create a productive and focused learning environment. So we move to the third case. We have Miss Brown is an 8th grade English teacher who is facing challenges with a student named Jake. Jake frequently exhibits disruptive behavior in class, such as talking out of turn, making inappropriate comments, and distracting other students. Despite Miss Brown's attempts to manage the behavior through verbal warnings and setting changes, Jake's behavior has not improved. This disruptive behavior is affecting the learning environment and making it difficult for other students to concentrate on their work. So the question is, what specific strategies can Ms. Brown implement to manage Jack's disruptive behavior? Provide at least 3 strategies and explain how each one could help address the issues. So to manage Jack's disruptive behavior, Ms. Brown can implement several strategies. So the first strategy, I have positive reinforcement. Ms. Brown can use positive reinforcement to encourage Jack to behave positively, providing verbal praise and positive feedback when Jack exhibits good behavior, such as staying on task or participating in discussions. Using nonverbal cues such as a thumbs up or a smile to show approval and encouragement. Then offering small rewards for good behavior such as extra credit or a special privilege. Second strategy, I have redirection and refocusing. Redirecting Jack's attention to the task at hand by asking him to focus on the lesson or activity, then providing alternative activities or tasks that cater to Jack's interests and needs. And then encouraging Jack to participate in discussions or group activities to engage him and keep him focused. And I have a strategy. The third strategy is teaching social skills. Miss Brown can teach Jack social skills to help him manage his behavior. The role-playing different scenarios to teach Jack how to interact with peers and teachers, and then incorporating social skills lesson into the curriculum to teach Jack how to communicate effectively and respect others, and then encouraging Jack to reflect on his behavior and identify what he can do differently to improve. So, by implementing these strategies, Ms. Brown can effectively manage Jack's disruptive behavior and create a positive learning environment for all students. Positive reinforcement, redirection, and refocusing can teach, and teaching social skills can help Jack develop better behavior and improve his overall academic performance. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention and have a nice day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.